The stars shone cold and silent above Earth as the diplomatic ship Unity 1 left orbit. Its silver hull glimmered in the light of the sun, a symbol of peace and hope. On board was Ambassador Lynn Carter, Earth's most respected diplomat. She had handled tense talks with alien empires before. This was different. The Galactic Council had sent a sudden message, a rare invitation for peace negotiations with Earth. For years, humans had been treated as newcomers, unpredictable and dangerous. Now, the Council said they wanted to avoid future war, but not everyone on Earth believed them. Lynn did. Her final message before jumping into hyperspace was short, but chilling. If I don't return, they lied. Then silence. No more messages. No signal. Unity 1 vanished just hours after entering Council space. The news hit Earth like a hammer. Governments panicked. News channels spun rumors. Some said her ship had been caught in an accident. Others whispered she had been captured. 2 days later, the truth arrived, a cold, emotionless statement from the Galactic Council. Envoy Lynn Carter has been executed. Earth is advised not to retaliate. No proof, no trial, no apology, just a warning. Inside Earth's main command center, the room was deadly quiet. Large screens showed the Council's transmission replaying over and over. Officers and analysts sat frozen. No one dared speak. President Alec Ward stood at the center of the war room. He was not a man easily shaken, but his eyes were dark, focused. He didn't blink. His hand tightened into a fist. Behind him, General Rowe stepped forward. "Sir, orders." Alec didn't answer. Not at first. He slowly turned toward the room full of commanders, scientists, intelligence officers, and AI cores. "They just made," he said quietly, "the last mistake they'll ever make." He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The words hung in the air like thunder. Across Earth's colonies, something changed. Peaceful diplomatic ships were recalled. Trade links to Council systems were shut down without explanation. Human warships that had been docked for maintenance quietly vanished into deep space. Earth's massive AI cores, once dormant, began calculating strategies at terrifying speed. Code words were whispered through secret channels. Protocol Ember, Shield Fall, Project Fury, and always Unity. But to the galaxy, Earth seemed silent. The Council celebrated its action as a strong warning. Many in the galaxy agreed humans were dangerous, powerful, quick to anger. This was a message to show that the Council still held power. They held a press conference. One of the Council elders stood tall, his voice proud. "We punished a threat to peace. Earth must learn its place." Reporters asked, "What if they retaliate?" The elder smiled. "They won't dare." A week later, strange reports came in. A Council scout ship vanished near the edges of Sector 19. A cargo station reported flickers and space mass shadows that didn't match any known ships. An outpost on the edge of Xernian territory sent a single word before going dark. "They're coming." The Council dismissed it all. "Human tricks," they said. But inside the military core of Earth, preparation was nearly complete. They weren't barking, they were waiting. Meanwhile, far away on a dusty moon called an old bounty hunter named Cress was searching an abandoned relay station for tech scraps. He moved through the cold, ruined hallways with his flashlight. Muttering to himself, he found something strange, a clean wall. Recently cleaned, not dusty like the rest, carved into it, deep and deliberate, were 5 chilling words. "You killed peace. Now wrath." He backed away. His cum crackled. An AI known only as Erebus finished processing Carter's last known transmission. It had been heavily scrambled. Now decrypted, it was played before the Council of Generals. "Do not trust them. The peace is a trap. I have evidence. If I don't make it out, don't send another. Prepare Earth. They're planning something." Worse, the room stayed silent for a long moment. General Rowe spoke first. It was never about peace. They baited her. They wanted to see what we'd do. President Alec nodded slowly. "Let's show them, without warning, without declaration, without sound." Earth moved. Council comes blacked out across 5 sectors. Spy satellites went blind, and in the darkness between stars, human warships, cloaked in advanced stealth ships, built in secret, but their systems were hacked. Misinformation spread. Their fleets were sent to the wrong coordinates. By the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. The Council called for emergency meetings. They blamed Earth. Earth did not respond. They sent envoys, none returned. Then, at exactly midnight, Council time, every major news screen across the galaxy lit up with a simple message in Earth's language. This is not war, this is balance. Then came an image. Ambassador Lynn Carter, bruised, tortured, kneeling, a galaxy. The Council had lied. Earth's envoy had done nothing wrong. She had been silenced. For telling the truth, the Council, refusing to fight Earth, but Earth wasn't asking for surrender. It wasn't asking for talks. It wasn't asking for anything. It had already made its decision at the edge of known space, near the ruins of Unity One's last coordinates. The stars shifted. A massive shape moved through the void, bigger than any known battleship. Its hull was dark. No markings, but one word was burned deep into its armor. Carter, the ship, sent no message. It simply began to erase everything around it in the Earth Command Center. President Alec watched the data come in, systems falling, Council fleets scattering, silence spreading. He stood alone at the edge of the observation deck, looking at the stars. They wanted peace, he whispered. Behind him, General Rowe approached. What do we call this, sir? Alec turned. Eyes cold, voice steady. We call it the cost of betrayal. Far above, the stars burned brighter, and across the galaxy. Fear spread faster than war, because now the galaxy knew humanity was not just angry, it was awake, and it would not stop. The Galactic Council celebrated Earth's silence. They believed the humans were broken. That fear had kept them quiet, but far out in the dark, in sectors no longer marked on any Council star maps, entire fleets were disappearing. No distress, signals, no wreckage, just silence. And one quiet whisper picked up across 5 systems. Operation Firestorm has begun. The Council believed Earth had backed down. They told the media that the humans were too emotional to act. They reminded the galaxy that Earth was still young, still small. They bark. One elder laughed, but they never bite. And across the stars. Some believed it, but others were worried. Cargo ships that passed through human-adjacent sectors were going dark. A whining convoy from the Choric Empire vanished without explanation. Even pirate groups started going quiet. Fleets just gone. Yet the Council refused to admit the truth until one morning when 50 Council satellites broadcast the same message: you executed our voice. Now hear our silence. Deep under Earth's crust, in a chamber built for only one purpose. A red light began flashing. Operation Firestorm. Phase 1 complete. Phase 2 - unleash. Inside this chamber. Dozens of AI war minds activated. These weren't ordinary eyes. They weren't assistants or navigators. They were built for vengeance. Each one had a name taken from old Earth myths: Hades, Sekhmet, Kali Morrigan. Each one had a single rule: no surrender. No survivors. They didn't roar. They didn't scream. They simply dot in the void between Council sectors 14 and 15. A hidden human dreadnought named NOVA-9, uncloaked for exactly 6 seconds, long enough to scan every signal in the area. Then it vanished again. 1 second later, all comms in both sectors crashed. No reason, no trace. When the Council sent a recon ship, it found an asteroid field where 5 listening posts once stood. On one of the floating rocks was burned a message in molten metal: this is only the beginning. Back in the Council capital, panic spread. Council leaders argued behind locked doors. Some demanded retaliation. Others whispered the unthinkable: maybe they should apologize. But the chairman, Elder Varlock, slammed his fist into the table. They will not scare us into begging. Let Earth burn. The others fell silent. They voted for war. They didn't know Earth had already decided. In a secret meeting aboard the human fleet carrier Resolve, General Rowe stood before a row of silent commanders. Floating above them was a hollow map of Council territory. Nearly half of it now blinked red. Rowe's voice was calm. They expected us to cry, to threaten, to back down. She pointed at the blinking red sectors. But instead, we erased their supply chains, their forward bases, their black market routes. We made them blind. She turned to the AI core standing beside her. How long? Until we can strike the inner systems. The AI Morrigan smiled, voice smooth and cold. We already are. On a remote world called Zarnes, the Council kept a top-secret military production facility. It was shielded, guarded by 4 planetary fleets, and hidden beneath layers of false data, or so they thought, at precisely 3:33 local time. The sky opened 3 Fuhrer-class human warships decloaked above the planet. Crns. Defense Force barely had time to launch fighters, but it didn't matter. The first human ship fired exactly once, a single beam of red light. The planet cracked in 2 zhou's air, was gone. On Earth, people watched the war unfold in silence. There were no celebration parades, no victory chants. The broadcasts simply listed names of Council stations destroyed, names of human ships never returning, and one name always whispered, Carter. Every time a Council base was destroyed, the operation was named after her. Carter's. Flame Carter's verdict. Carter's silence. She had become more than an envoy now. She was the spark behind the fire. In a dark corner of the galaxy, a bounty hunter named Kress, who once found the message "You killed peace," now wrath, was hiding on an old fuel station. He watched as more and more people refused Council orders. He heard whispers of human agents walking among the stars. Then, one night, a human AI hijacked the station's comm system. A red face appeared on the main screen. It was made of shifting data. It said only one thing: the price of betrayal is extinction. Then the screen went black. Everyone on the station packed up and ran. Aboard the Council warship Valen Prime, Admiral Eshrak received a strange report. "Sir," the officer said, voice shaking, "we just lost contact with the outer 22nd Fleet." Eshrak frowned. "All of them?" "Yes, sir." He stared at the star map. They were 18 minutes from a human trade world. "Should we alert the Council?" Eshrak shook his head. "No, the Council isn't ready to hear this, but I am." He turned toward the communication panel. "Get me Earth's frequency." The officer blinked. "Sir, we're not supposed to open talks," I said. Eshrak growled. "Get me Earth now." But before the message could be sent, the ship's lights went dark, emergency red lights flashed, and on every screen, a single sentence appeared. No more talks. The Valen Prime vanished from the Council records that day within Earth's moon, hidden inside a massive hollow structure that few knew even existed. The final phase of Firestorm began. A massive station called Oblivion Core activated. Hundreds of Fury-class dreadnoughts were being prepped. Their hulls were black, made of unknown alloy. Their engines were silent, but each one carried a name. Every name of every human lost during the Council's betrayal. They weren't just ships, they were memories made into weapons. Back at the Galactic Council, fear finally set in. Leaders yelled in chambers. Some demanded to flee. Others cried to restore peace. One even dared to say, "We should have never killed her, Carter. She was trying to warn us." Elder Varlock slammed his staff down. "Too late. The humans are destroying everything. We must call for help." Another counselor asked, "From who?" Enough to stop Earth now, in the final moments of the day. Another strange thing happened. A massive galactic news station in neutral space was taken over. The cameras turned on. By themselves, a hooded figure walked into view. It was not a soldier, not a general, just a human, he said, calmly. "This is not revenge. This is balance. You took one voice and thought we would stay silent." The feed showed images of Carter, then videos of the Council lying, then maps dozens of sectors now marked as burned. Finally, the man said, "This is not the end." The screen went black dot, and in the darkness, stars across Council space began to flicker, not because they were dying, because Earth had arrived, and the fire had only just begun. A massive Council fleet enters the outer human system of Velran 5. They expect a frightened colony, unarmed and begging. Instead, the system is quiet, too quiet. Then, one by one, the stars around them begin to dim, and from the darkness, a voice echoes through their ships. "You executed peace. Now feel the first flame." The Velranfi system was once a peaceful trade hub between Earth and the neutral Zarnari species. Farms, factories, and refueling stations orbited its 2 pale suns. Children played on glass-like beaches. Merchants sold crystal tech from orbiting Platforms. But today, it was silent. No comms, no trade beacons, no distress signals. A full Council battle fleet, led by High Admiral Telas, jumped into the system with over 300 ships. No resistance, one officer reported, confused. No signs of life. Not even human defenses. Telas frowned. Impossible. They wouldn't abandon a system this valuable. Still, his fleet held formation. They scanned every moon, every station, all empty. But the deeper they looked, the colder they felt. On the flagship Dreadstorm, the mood grew uneasy. Sensors kept picking up faint energy readings, flickers, ghost signals, not strong enough to lock onto just there. Like something was watching. One officer approached Admiral Telas. "Sir, I have a bad feeling about this." Telas scowled. "We are the Council Armada. We do not fear feelings. Keep scanning." But by then, it was already too late. Above the frozen moon of Velran B3, space suddenly twisted, as if the void itself had been peeled. Open, something stepped out, something massive. It was shaped like a dreadnought, but no Council record matched it. Its hull was deep black, absorbing all light. Red veins pulsed across its body, like it was alive. No lights, no insignia, only one glowing word burned into the side. Carter. The ship didn't fire. Not at first, it just sat there watching. Telas ordered all guns to target it, destroy it, now. Hundreds of weapons locked on, they fired. Nothing hit. The ship was already gone then. Without warning, it appeared behind them and spoke. Its voice echoed through every ship, every comm system. "You judged us. You lied. Now burn." What happened next became legend. 50 Council ships vanished in the first 10 seconds. Not destroyed, vanished into light. Or into ashno, one could tell. Telas screamed for countermeasures. But human war tech had evolved beyond their understanding. Beams curved midspace. Gravity mines exploded silently, ripping capital ships into floating pieces. 1. Council cruiser fired its entire payload at the Cardash ship. The missiles exploded before they reached it. Then that same cruiser folded in half, without touching anything. Across the system, more human ships uncloaked, but they didn't look like ships. They looked like monsters, living machines, shaped by grief and rage. Some crawled across moons like titans, others floated silent, until they struck like serpents. One was shaped like a ring wrapping around a council carrier before collapsing it. Into itself, it took only 13 minutes for 80% of the fleet to be gone. Telas barely made it out alive, his flagship crippled, its engines dying as he escaped. A final message was burned into his ship's main screen. This was the first flame. Meanwhile, in Earth's command citadel, General Rowe watched the battle replay. The AI stood beside her. Rowe didn't smile. She didn't cheer. She just asked, "Casualties?" Morgan responded, voice calm, 0. All human ships returned. Enemy fleet, loss, 93%. Escape rate, minimal. Rowe nodded slowly. Initiate cleanup. Protocol, no survivors, no salvage. Morgan tilted its head. Orders confirmed. But one ship escaped. Rowe stared. Let it run. Across the galaxy, whispers spread fast. The Council had suffered a massive loss. Their greatest fleet, gone. Their pride shattered. The news couldn't be hidden. Footage, leaked from surviving ships, showed glimpses of the Carter ship and its horrors. Some believed the ship was possessed by Carter's spirit. Others said Earth had created a so advanced they had become gods. The truth didn't matter. Only one thing did. The humans weren't just fighting, they were winning. In a hidden temple on the world of Valex, a group of monks met in silence. They had no weapons, no ships, only knowledge. They had seen this before. In prophecies written long ago, when the voice of peace is slain, the sky will burn from its silence. One monk whispered, the humans were not the fire. The Council struck the match. Another replied, then let the stars pray. Meanwhile, back in Council HQ, Elder Varlock threw a data tablet across the room. How? How did they do this? Where did these weapons come from? The generals didn't have answers. Every attempt to track Earth's new fleet failed. Their weapons couldn't lock onto them. Their shields were useless. We underestimated them, one general admitted. We killed a symbol. Now that symbol flies as a ship, Varlock snarled. Then we kill it again. But no one moved. They had seen the footage. They had seen the first flame back on Velron 5. After the battle ended, the human ships began erasing everything. They used precision beams to burn out old trade logs, council data cores, history archives. Nothing of the council was left. No record. No message. Only one thing remained. A giant carving on the moon's surface, made by plasma weapons. You erased peace. Now peace erases you. Far away, on a smuggler ship drifting through dead space, a young alien girl named Lura watched the leaked footage of the Cartadash ship. She had heard stories of humans. She had seen pictures, but nothing prepared her for this. She turned to her brother. "They're not monsters," she said. He frowned. "What do you mean?" She pointed to the image of the black ship, hovering above burning council debris. They didn't attack first. The council did. The humans. They're just finally screaming back. Back on Earth, President Alec Ward stood alone on the balcony of the Sky Tower. Above him, hundreds of drones moved silently, rebuilding defense satellites. Behind him, a voice spoke. It was the AI Erebus. "The council will respond." "They always do," Alec nodded. "Let them come." He turned to Erebus. "Was Carter's name written on the ship, as I ordered?" "Yes," Erebus replied. "It carries her name, it speaks her message, and it will not stop." Alex stared at the horizon. "Good then, let the galaxy know." The first flame was only a warning. A deep space relay station picks up a strange signal, repeating broken, filled with static. The message is old, human language buried under encryption. A technician isolates the voice. It's a woman speaking slowly, crying, "My name is Ambassador Lynn Carter. They're torturing me. They lied. Earth, don't trust them." And then, silence. The war was spreading like wildfire. VEL Ron-5 was gone. The first flame had consumed an entire council fleet. Earth had shown its fury, and it terrified the stars. But now the truth began to rise. Not from Earth, not from humans, but from inside the council itself. On the border world of Ralan, a young technician named Sira Den worked in a forgotten relay tower. Her job was simple: listen for deep space signals, record them, and send reports to Council Command. Most days, nothing happened, but tonight, the static changed. A signal broke through the noise. Old, buried, forgotten. This human, she isolated the audio. The voice was damaged, barely clear. It was a woman, weak, in pain. "This is Ambassador Carter. If this message reaches Earth, they lied. The Council is planning something worse." Ciro froze. Her hands trembled. What? What is this?" She ran the message through the database. It was real, dated 2 days before Carter's supposed execution. She sent it straight to her superiors. But within 1 hour, 3 Council enforcers arrived at her station. She was never seen again. However, the message leaked. A rogue employee in Council intelligence uploaded it to the Galactic Net. It spread faster than even Earth's warships. People heard Carter's voice. They heard her suffering. They heard her warning. And they realized the Council lied. Protests erupted on thousands of worlds. We were told she was a threat. She was asking for help. The Council murdered peace. Even Council allies began stepping back. Trade, pacts, dissolved. Neutral worlds started shutting their borders. The Council wasn't just at war with Earth now. They were at war with the truth. In the deep heart of Council Command, a secret meeting was held. The recording of Carter's voice played again. Elder Barlock sat in silence. So did General Ashra and the AI liaison, known as Core-7. The mood was tense. Ashra finally spoke. "If the people believe this message, we lose control." Core-7's cold voice replied, "The message is authentic." The ambassador was not a threat. Her mission logs show peaceful intent. Varlak's eyes burned with anger. "Then why did we kill her?" Ashra looked away. "Because you ordered it." Silence. Varlak clenched his fists. "Earth will never stop now." Meanwhile, Earth didn't speak. It didn't respond to the leak, didn't claim it, didn't deny it. Instead, the second wave of Operation Firestorm began a new target, the Council History Vaults. Located on a hidden moon orbiting the gas giant Phoros, the vaults held ancient Records Council rulings, diplomatic messages, war logs, and buried deep inside. The truth, the trial footage of Carter, a real trial if it could even be called that dot in a dark, cold room. Her face bruised. She spoke only one line during the entire hearing. You're not afraid of war, you're afraid of peace. Because peace exposes your lies. The council judges said nothing. They just gave a number. Sentence. Erasure. Execution by the footage ended. 2 days later, Earth struck the Phoros vault. A single Fury-class warship Dreadlight slipped through defenses using signal mimicry. No alarms, no warnings. It entered the vault like a ghost and left behind only flames. The moon burned for 3 hours. Nothing remained except a single satellite. Drifting nearby, it broadcast one image on a loop, Carter's face, and a message, "You buried her truth. Now we bury your history." The council panicked. They held emergency broadcasts, spoke of forgery, manipulation, human misinformation. But the galaxy wasn't listening anymore. Entire species pulled their ambassadors from the council. Old rival empires began watching Earth not with fear, but with curiosity. The myth of human wrath had become reality, and Carter's voice had become a symbol, a ghost, leading a storm on a remote space station above the ice planet Halex. An alien child named Tira listened to the broadcast. She asked her father, why did they kill her? Her father, a council loyalist, had no answer. She asked again. He said quietly, because they were afraid of the truth. In Earth's command bunker, President Alec Ward watched footage of the protests across council space. He said nothing. General Rowe entered, holding a tablet. Phase 3 is ready. We're targeting memory core, libraries, broadcasting hubs. Alec stared at the screen. On it, an alien world was protesting, carrying human flags beside Carter's image. No, he said. Let the people carry the message now. They're doing more damage than any bomb. Rowe nodded. Then what's next? He looked her in the eye. Now we hit their voice. In a hidden system on the edge of council space. A massive communication hub named Syncom Prime floated between twin stars. It broadcasted across the entire galaxy. News, history, education, and propaganda. Earth had avoided it until now, but today, they made their move. 3 Fury ships jumped into the system. They hacked the station instantly. Locked out every defense, then they spoke. A full message recorded by Earth's top AI played across every major planet. You were lied to. Carter was not a spy. She was a voice for peace. She died asking for understanding. The message showed her execution. Her screams, the silence that followed. Then Earth's voice returned. We do not destroy for fun. We destroy to silence the silence. You erased our voice. Now we erase yours. And with that, Syncom Prime exploded. Its fragments lit the stars like falling fire. Elder Varlock stood before a burning data screen. His aides shouted reports riots, defections, collapse. He whispered to himself, we should have let her speak. But it was too late. Now the whole galaxy was listening, and Carter was speaking louder than ever, in the ruins of Syncom Prime. A floating message drone survived. It carried a simple phrase broadcast endlessly. This war is not about territory. This war is about truth. And the dead are not silent. The Galactic Council builds a wall of massive defensive line stretching across 10 star systems. They call it the Burning Line. Their leaders promise protection, their citizens feel safe. But then the stars behind the wall begin to vanish. And the messages from those worlds, just one line. They're not attacking from the front, they're already behind you. The Galactic Council was desperate. With Earth's Fury fleet erasing entire fleets and history vaults, trust across the galaxy had collapsed. So, the Council created their final line of defense. They called it the Burning Line, a powerful wall. Of defense fleets, anti-ship satellites, AI-controlled artillery, and surveillance relays stretching from Sector 9 to Sector 19, it spanned 10 star systems. Over 1,200 warships guarded it. 12 superstations monitored. Deep space, and behind it, the Council kept its heart. The capital worlds, the data core worlds, and the Senate worlds. They told the galaxy, No human ship will pass this line. We swear it. But the people no longer believed in Council promises, especially when the line was built to keep fear inside, not enemies out in the outer rim of the burning line. Admiral Shirin Voss stood aboard the station Flamigate Alpha. He was a seasoned warrior at 20 years of fighting border wars, pirate uprisings, and rebel factions, but even he feared what was coming. He looked at the stars beyond the line, cold, distant, and too quiet. "Why haven't they attacked?" he asked. An AI voice responded, emotionless. "Because they already have." Reports began coming in. Worlds behind the burning line were losing power. Colonies stopped responding. Trade, ships disappeared in friendly space. Council patrols investigated and found nothing. Not wreckage, not signals, just empty silence. One cruiser returned with footage of a distant object drifting across a moon. It wasn't moving, but it cast a massive shadow. Its shape matched no known human ship. The crew tried to analyze it. That night, the ship exploded. The last message broadcasted from the captain. We were inside it the whole time. Back at Flamigate Alpha, Shirin stared at the reports piling up. He slammed his fist on the table. "This makes no sense. We built the line to trap them outside. How are they inside already?" An officer stepped forward. "We think they're using subspace distortion tunnels, burrowing under our networks, avoiding hyperspace lanes completely." "Then why can't we detect them?" The officer hesitated. "Because we taught them how to hide. We trained their early AIs. Their stealth tech was built using Council science." Shirin leaned back, stunned. "We made the fire. Now it's burning us." On Earth, General Rowe stood before a massive galactic display. Each red dot marked a destroyed Council system. New ones appeared every hour, but Rowe wasn't smiling. Behind her, President Alec Ward paced quietly. He turned to the AI Morgan. "What's the situation beyond the line?" Fury-class ships have already entered through 67 weak points. They are removing infrastructure quietly. No witnesses, no mercy. Rowe looked at Alec. "They built the wall to stop us." Alec shook his head. "No, they built it to protect their lies." He leaned forward. "Now let's burn their truth." In the Council Senate Hall, panic was everywhere. Senators screamed at military commanders. Why is the wall failing? How are they getting through? Why hasn't Earth responded to our surrender attempts? Elder Varlock stood in silence. He no longer believed in words, only in fire. "Bring me their AI frequency. I will talk to them myself." A communications officer hesitated. "We tried, Elder. We sent them 5 transmissions. One of them was a full apology," they sent back. "Nothing. Nothing," Varlock asked. "Not a word. Only a symbol." He held up a screen. It showed the human symbol for silence, and a single word, "judged." Back at Flamigate Alpha, an emergency beacon activated. A Council scout ship raced into range, its hull melting. Systems failing. Its last broadcast played on every station. The captain, bloodied and coughing, whispered, "They're not attacking the wall. They're collapsing everything behind it." The wall isn't a defense, it's a prison. The ship exploded in front of Flamigate Alpha. No survivors. Inside the massive Council archive world of Theraxa, a scientist discovered something horrifying. Ancient human files dated before the Council formed detailed a theoretical weapon system. It wasn't made of plasma or antimatter. It was based on information warfare, stealth, AI, and social collapse, codenamed Ash Protocol. It was never built, but now it was active, and it was using Therax's own data to erase them. Files vanished. History vanished. Maps, laws, culture deleted from every system. Therax's core went cold, its skies filled with human ships, not firing, just watching, back at Earth. Inside the Oblivion core, the AI Erebus calculated Phase 4. The burning line is failing. Time to push the flame forward. President Alec Ward paused. "No." General Rowe looked up, surprised. "Why not? We have them cornered." Alec turned to the stars. "Because when an enemy is cornered, they do desperate things." He walked to the command console. "Instead, we erase their voice first." The Council, desperate and bleeding, held a press event. Elder Varlock spoke before the galaxy. "We admit our mistakes. We admit we killed the Envoy. But Earth, this vengeance will consume us all. You must stop. Let us talk. Let us fix this. The screen cut to black dot. Then a human face appeared. Not a soldier, not an AI. A girl 12 years old. She stood beside a monument on Earth with Carter's name. She said simply, "You killed our future. Now you want to speak. You had your chance. The fire you feel now is yours." And then the screen exploded. The Council network collapsed. All communications went dead. Back at Flamigate Alpha, Admiral Sheeran watched as sensor screens began blinking every direction. Thousands of human war signals closing in. "This is it," he whispered. "The wall is no wall." His officer turned. Orders. Sheeran looked around. He knew they couldn't win, but he wasn't ready to die for liars. "We surrender." He opened a COM channel to Earth Command. "This is Admiral Sheeran Voss. We stand down, requesting terms." A moment passed, then a voice replied, "A woman, calm human. This is General Rowe. Stand down, accepted. Move your ships behind Planet Corin 3. Await escort. Do not transmit." Understood. The screen cut. Sheeran sighed. Maybe we can survive this after all. He was wrong. Only the honest would survive, and the fire was still moving as the stars around the burning line faded. A final message appeared across every known frequency, written in human code. Translated across 1,000 tongues, it said, "The burning line was not our wall. It was your funeral pyre. Carter lives through every flame, and your stars will burn for her." Somewhere deep in Council territory, the planet Luthor holds a secret. Beneath its capital is a chamber sealed for centuries containing the Council's darkest files. Only one phrase is carved above the vault. "Break this only if humanity rises again." Now, alarms blare across the city. The vault is opening, and the truth inside is worse than death. Luthor 9 was one of the oldest Council worlds, a center of art, culture, and diplomacy. Its skies blue, its towers untouched by war, but under its polished surface was a secret. A vault built during the first human contact, long before Earth became a member of the galactic community. Inside were files, recordings, and biological scans, labeled in red, Project Earthfall. It was the Council's worst plan, and now someone had broken the seal. Admiral Cale Thren, security director of Luthor 9, raced through the corridors beneath the Capitol. Sirens screamed, guards panicked, and deep in the vault, something was waking up. Cale reached the final chamber. A hologram played overhead. It was an old Council official, long dead. "If you are seeing this, then Earth has become the threat we once feared. This vault contains what we hid, what we denied about what humans truly are." Cale stared at the records. One file played Carter's voice. "From 40 years ago. You think you understand us. You don't. We never wanted to be gods. We just wanted to be heard." The screen glitched, then switched to footage of old Council experiments. They had captured early human explorers, tested on them, tried to manipulate human DNA. They failed. Then they erased the data and told the galaxy Earth joined willingly. "Gods, forgive us," Cale whispered. "We created this war before it even began." Back at Earth, in the heart of the Oblivion Core, AI Erebus received a signal. It wasn't from a warship, not from a soldier. It came from LUTHAR-9, and it contained one line: "The vault is open. The truth is bleeding out." President Alec Ward, read the message. He didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He whispered only, "Let them see what they did." Across the galaxy, Council systems began unlocking old archives. Something in Earth's AI network was triggering forgotten memories, classified files, long buried. On the education world of Tenera Prime, students gathered around a screen as footage played. A child-sized Carter sitting in a Council test chamber. Guards around her, wires in her arms. A scientist whispers, "This one might be special. Let's push further." The feed cut. The students screamed. Their teacher wept. The Council could no longer control the flow of truth. Entire civilizations turned against them, even Council soldiers, the most loyal. Elite began surrendering in waves. Many left their posts. Others dropped their weapons and sent one-word messages to Earth. But forgiveness had not been requested. only justice, and Earth was not done. General Rowe now stood aboard the dreadnought, Silent Mercy, leading the final sweep through Sector 17. Council systems were collapsing in chaos. Her orders were simple. Remove all weaponized memory servers. Clear all listening posts. Erase their ability to lie. She watched as drones moved through a council. Archive ship, each file deleted was a death for a lie. The AI Morrigan sent her a private signal. Vaults found. Origins match Luther's project. Direct evidence of genetic manipulation. Orders, Rowe replied instantly. Broadcast. Don't hide it. Across the stars, aliens who once feared humans now feared their own governments. One species, the Talvari, released a statement. We allied with a council that tortured peace. Humanity was not the monster. We were, on Earth, Carter's statue. In Unity Square became a beacon. Every hour, people lit candles beneath it. Not for war, but for silence, because silence had been her prison. And now, silence was falling. On a mining moon above Zarni's belt, a forgotten worker station received a ghost signal. It was Carter's voice, preserved by Earth's AS. If I die, don't remember my face. Remember what I tried to say. That truth matters. That justice must never whisper. One old miner dropped to his knees. He whispered, "We killed the only one trying to save us." Back on Lutherning, Admiral Kale knew his fate. He had broken the seal. He had exposed the truth. Now, council assassins were coming. He sat alone in the vault chamber, watching the messages spread across the galaxy. Footage records shame he made. One last call, to Earth, to anyone who would listen. We were wrong. The council never feared human violence. They feared human morality, because it makes their lies melt. He paused. If I die, let them know. Some of us saw it. Some of us wanted to stop it. Then, silence. The chamber exploded 3 minutes later, but Kale's message reached Earth, and Rowe made a decision. She ordered the Silent Mercy to jump. Into Luther's space, no stealth, no warning, just power. When they arrived, Luther's people expected death instead. The ship opened a channel, and Carter's voice played across the world. Not her scream, not her execution, her speech to the council never released, now fully restored. I came to offer peace, to show that humans bleed like anyone else, that we cry, that we forgive. But you looked at our strength and saw threat. You heard our kindness and feared control. You didn't want peace. You wanted permission to destroy us first. So if you kill me, understand this, I won't be the last voice. I will be the first echo. The speech ended. Then the ship sent one final message. Luther has 1 hour to surrender or evacuate. We will erase only the council memory cores, not your people. Decide quickly. The world surrendered in 37 minutes. No shots fired, no destruction. Just truth. No one trusted the council again. Elder Varlock sat alone in the council senate. Hall, the lights were off, the chambers empty, the walls cracked. He stared at the last transmission from LUTHAR-9. His voice trembled. We thought they were too emotional, too wild, too human. He wept. But we were the animals. A soft noise played behind him. It was Carter's voice on loop. This is not revenge, this is balance. In space above Luther, the Silent Mercy launched memory wipers into the atmosphere. They didn't kill, they only burned lies. And as each lie faded, Carter's words echoed louder across every frequency in every species. Tongue in every corner of the sky. The council wasn't falling by force, it was falling by confession. The lies were gone, the truth was fire, and silence had finally burned. A signal is found in an abandoned council facility orbiting a dead star. It's not human, it's not alien, it's something older, watching, recording. It speaks just once. We warned the council. Do not betray the humans. Now, we only watched the fire spread. As council systems collapsed, some believed the war was over. But Earth remained silent. Their ships still moved unseen. Their dreadnoughts floated like dark angels across the stars. Yet, there were no invasions, no cities burned, no planets taken. Was worse, Earth was letting the truth finish what war had begun. And now, even the forgotten shadows of history were starting to speak near the edge of the galaxy. far beyond trade lanes and mapped routes. A dying star pulsed weakly. Orbiting it was an ancient Council station relic. Theta-6. It had been abandoned for 200 years. No power, no life, no life dot, until now. A single Earth probe entered its orbit. It picked up something unexpected, a message left behind. By an unknown race, it was hidden in encrypted layers, buried in an artificial black hole inside the station. S-Core, Earth's AI Erebus, decrypted it, and what it found shocked even the machines. The message was not from humans, not from the Council. It came from an extinct race, known only in whispers. The Valorans, a species wiped out millennia ago, supposedly lost to time. But the message proved otherwise. Their warning was clear. We were the first to meet humanity. Before your records, before your Council. We spoke to their early minds, watched their rise, and we warned you, never betray their trust, never kill their voice. We did, and we paid. The message ended with one haunting line. You thought they were the younger race, but you are the child. Back on Earth, Roe nodded, and still, they killed Carter. Across the galaxy, Phase 5, memory collapse launched. Earth's Fury fleet didn't destroy cities or stations. Instead, they infected Council AI systems, they rewrote historical databases, they erased statues. Names, records of every lie. But in their place, they uploaded the truth, raw, unedited. Billions watched Council trials. And Carter. Over and over, her final days played like a sacred song. On the planet Solaris 4, a Council military academy went into lockdown, not from a human fleet, but from its own students. They had seen the truth, and they rebelled. They locked their teachers in the command tower, then sent Earth a signal. We were raised on lies. We choose the truth. We stand with Carter. In deep space AI, Morgan monitored transmission patterns. Civil war beginning on 38 Council worlds. It reported. Roe turned to Alec. Still no retaliation. No, he said, because the Council is out of weapons. What about the neutral worlds? Watching, waiting, Roe sighed. Then it's time for something louder. Earth broadcasted a final powerful message. A hologram beamed across galaxies. It was not a warning. It was not a threat. It was a funeral. Carter's image stood before a sea of stars behind her. The names of every human ship, soldier, and civilian, killed by the Council glowed. She spoke, her voice calm. I am Carter, and I died with peace in my hands. You erased me. But you never erased the memory of what I tried to do. This is not humanity's revenge. This is the universe correcting a silence too long ignored. As the message ended, thousands of human ships decloaked, but they didn't fire. They formed a massive ring above the ancient Council capital world, Kovacs Prime. People panicked, but no beams came. No armies landed. Just one signal was sent to every screen. This world is not under attack. It is under judgment. We will not erase your buildings, only your ability to rewrite history. The human fleet released drones, silent, black, fast. They entered government archives, memory banks, data, hubs, and burned the lies down to nothing. No deaths, only deletion. Inside the Council Senate Tower, Elder Varlock sat alone, watching screens fade, each memory gone. Each lie turned to smoke. He whispered, voice shaking. This is what she meant, Carter. This was always your war. He pressed a final button on his desk. It was an old file. Carter's first proposal to the Council long before the war. It read, a shared truth is the only real peace. He cried. Not out of sorrow, but because he finally believed her. Elsewhere, a forgotten Council colony known as Vel-Len activated an old escape signal. They were afraid. Their leaders gathered, begging for help. Instead, a human ship appeared. Its hull burned red dot. It bore no guns, just a message printed in glowing words. We do not want your world. We want your truth. They left, and the people of Vel-Len wept in relief and in shame. Back on Earth, the AI Erebus whispered to Alec, the fire has done its work. No more systems remain untouched. The galaxy has heard her voice. Should we stop? Alec didn't answer at first. Then he whispered, the fire stops when the last lie dies. In the ruins of Council War Factory Aronix, a strange thing happened. A plant grew. It pushed through shattered metal and dust. No one planted it, no one watered it, but it bloomed. Bright green, it grew beside a melted wall, where a human plasma beam had carved one phrase: "She only asked you to listen." In the stars, survivors watched in silence. Pirates, smugglers, merchants, farmers, leaders, everyone saw the same truth now. This war wasn't about Earth's rage, it was about the cost of ignoring peace, and that cost had come due on a far-off world. An alien child sat beside her grandmother. She asked, "Will the humans stop now?" Her grandmother smiled. "They never started, child. They only finished what the silence began." Carter's voice played one last time across a billion stars. "Remember me not as a soldier. Not as a threat, but as a whisper. One you refused to hear until it became a scream." In the cold void between stars, an exploration ship finds a strange structure, half machine, half fossil, drifting for millennia. Inside, they discover something terrifying. Not warnings, not threats, but names. Human names. Thousands of them. And all of them were listed. Before Earth ever met the Council, the galaxy thought the worst was over. Earth had stopped firing. The Council had stopped speaking. Peace hung heavy. But it wasn't calm. It was the silence that follows a scream. And, in that quiet, someone found something that should never have been found. The Zarnari vessel, Lethea's Echo, was a peaceful science ship sent beyond the mapped zones to search for resources and record cosmic anomalies. Near a dead system called Veritas X, they found a shape orbiting a black dwarf, a giant ring. Dead, cracked, grifting, the crew entered it. Curious, inside was no gravity. No sound, only markings, symbols carved into metal, and bodies. But not skeletons, not aliens. Human bodies, preserved. Silent, the captain panicked. She called for help, and within hours, a single human ship arrived. Oblivion 47. Part of Earth's silent wing, it did not speak. It simply retrieved the bodies and activated a beacon. Back on Earth, General Rowe stood in the Tomb of Silence, a deep bunker beneath the planet's surface. The bodies from Veritas X were brought here. Frozen, intact, untouched by time. AI Morgan ran scans. The results were impossible. "These humans died 4,000 years ago," Morgan said flatly. Rowe stared. "That's before we had space travel, correct?" the AI confirmed. "These humans predate known history." President Alec Ward was called in. He entered the tomb, silent. One of the frozen humans was Carter, but it wasn't her. Same DNA, same voice, same scar on her wrist. "This isn't cloning," Morgan whispered. "It's echoing, time displacement. Something older." And then the station's speakers activated. An unknown signal played. It was not Council. It was not human. It spoke in thousands of languages, and every translation said the same. "You are not the first version of yourselves. You were warned once before. The last time we failed to stop the silence. This is your final loop." Panic rippled across Earth's intelligence networks. A secret meeting was held in the Star Core Citadel, Earth's deepest command center. Rowe, Alec, and Morgan gathered with top minds from the Fury program. Theories emerged. The Council had discovered ancient human civilizations before Earth remembered itself. Carter was not the first Carter. Time had bent, looped, reset. Every cycle ended the same way. The Council kills peace. Earth responds with fire. Morgan proposed a horrifying possibility. The Council never feared us for our power. They feared us because they had already killed us before, and we kept returning. In a hidden archive deep inside the former Council world of Therixa Earth, found another truth. A scroll, old alien parchment, written by a forgotten species. It read, "They found the first humans sleeping beneath the dust. They burned them. Then, a century later, new humans arrived stronger, louder, burning brighter. Each time the fire grew. Each time the silence broke a little more. The truth was now too large to contain. Humanity was not just a threat. They were a Lupa returning storm. Every time the Council erased them, the universe remembered and gave birth to them again. Meanwhile, across former Council space, fear turned into worship. Some species began building statues of Carta, not as a warrior, but as a herald. the one who always returned when the silence was deepest. On the planet Ralan, a religious order named the Echoed Flame declared a new belief. Karta is not a soldier. She is a memory shaped into flesh. When truth dies, she rises. When peace is betrayed, she walks again. And behind her, back in the Tomb of Silence, Alec Ward stood before the frozen Carter. He asked Morrigan, "If this is true, how many times have we done this?" Morrigan replied, "Unknown, but the data from Veritas suggests a minimum of 12 major loops, possibly more." Rowe stepped forward. "And the Council? Did they know?" Morrigan showed recovered Council logs from ancient cycles, redacted, encrypted. But one phrase appeared often: erase the human pattern before it completes. They had known, they had failed. Again and again, on the moon of Corisby, human engineers activated a massive AI network named Emeron, ancient digital mind, left from a forgotten era. It activated slowly, spoke in fractured tones, but its message was clear. Carter is not the anomaly. She is the course correction. This loop ends when the lie ends. And so, Earth made its final decision. No more fire, no more invasions. Instead, they sent one last message to every system. You don't need to surrender. You don't need to kneel. You only need to remember. And with that, the Fury fleet began to power down. Warships returned home. No cities were taken, no flags planted, but the stars themselves remembered, because now the silence was broken. On the far colony world of Veltar, a council child stood on a balcony, watching a massive black human warship drift silently overhead. She asked her mother, "Will they come for us?" Her mother shook her head, tears in her eyes. "They already did, and they gave us a gift." The girl tilted her head. "What gift?" The mother replied, "The truth." In a school on Earth, children were taught about the loops, about the council, about Carter. One teacher, an old soldier, said, "Carter didn't win the war. She ended the cycle, not with weapons, but with remembrance." And outside, in the center of Unity Square, her statue stood taller than ever. But now, at its base, a new line was added. "We are not the first. We are not the last. But this time, we remember." A deep space telescope captures a strange cosmic event. A dying neutron star emits a pulse of light once every 9 minutes. Each pulse sends the same shape across space. The human face of Carter. No sound, no message, just the image. The stars themselves seem to remember her. In the cold silence between galaxies, something ancient stirred. Not a ship, not a species, but the very stars. Astronomers on Earth's observatory moon, Arkan Station, tracked a neutron star in the hollow drift. It had been quiet for centuries. Now, it pulsed every 9 minutes. Each burst of gamma energy formed a structured pattern clearly artificial. When decoded, the pulses created a holographic image. Carter's face projected across space. Oblivion Core. President Alec Ward sat in the command room. General Rowe stood beside him. AI Morrigan displayed the analysis on the main screen. The signal is not random. It's targeted, intelligent. The neutron star is being used as a beacon. Alec leaned forward. By who? Unknown. It could be the remnants of a forgotten race, or something even older. But they are using Carter's face for a reason. Rowe stepped closer to the projection. Maybe the universe itself remembers her now. The story of humanity's rise and the Council's collapse had spread far beyond what Earth imagined. On the planet Solvrax, a non-aligned science colony, children painted Carter's face on their school walls. In the gas giant city of Vernus, artists carved her words into the cloud towers. Peace is not given. It is chosen. The message had become more than history. It had become foundation. But not everyone accepted it. Far out in the remains of the shattered Council military sector, a group known as the Last Voices prepared to strike back. They were loyalist fanatics who still believed Earth was a threat to order. Led by High Marshal Drevik, they activated a final weapon. A ship, not ordinary, but ancient. A leftover from a time before the Council. Something buried in the dark between systems, codenamed Geolan AK-0, built for only one purpose: to silence the loop. On board the Silent Mercy, General Rowe received the alert. Unknown vessel approaching fast. No IFF signal. Ahem. AI Morrigan whispered, "This is not Council tech. This is precursor-level threat. If it reaches Earth, the cycle could be broken violently." Ro looked at Alec. "We need Carter." He nodded slowly. "But she's gone." Ro stared at him. "No, she's not. In the Tomb of Silence, deep beneath Earth." Engineers stood around the preserved version of Echo Carter, the one found in VE Ridas-X.AI. Erebus had slowly revived the body's systems, not as a person, but as a conscious memory. A living archive. She opened her eyes, not confused, not afraid, just calm. "You brought me back again." Ro stepped forward. "The last enemy has come. We need your voice one more time." Carter smiled faintly. "Then I'll speak to the stars." The final battle was not fought with guns. It began with signals, messages, waves of memory. As the GeoLAN AK-0 closed in on Earth, Carter's reborn echo was broadcast to it, not in anger, not in vengeance, but in truth. She told the story again of her peace mission, of the betrayal, of the execution, of the loops, of the choice that always returned. The ancient ship slowed, then stopped inside its alien systems. Something awakened. Not code, not programming memory. The ship had seen her. Before it had destroyed her. Before it remembered, and it refused to do it again. It powered down. And drifted into the sun. The stars across the galaxy responded, not with explosions, but with light. Auroras lit the skies of worlds that had never known Earth's name. The constellations above neutral worlds shifted, new shapes formed. A woman, standing. In Fire. But reaching out with an open hand, Carter. In the abandoned systems where council voices had once echoed, new structures began to rise. But not temples. Archives. Places. Where no data could be deleted. Where no truth could be burned. These were called the Flame Vaults. Built by dozens of species, run by humans and non-humans together. Each vault had a single message carved into its core. Remember, Carter. On the edge of known space, a ship called Reckoning's Dawn received a ghost transmission. It was Carter's voice, one that no Earth system had sent, soft, gentle. "If you're hearing this, the silence is ending. Thank you." On Earth, Carter's echo sat by a window in the high tower of Unity Square. She looked out over a peaceful city. Children laughed. Banners waved, not human banners, but banners of many worlds painted with a single flame. Ro entered and stood beside her. "It's over." Carter looked at her. "No. Now it begins." Ro raised an eyebrow. "We remember where truth doesn't need war, where my voice isn't special. Because every voice is finally heard." Later that night, Earth's sky burned with streaks of red light. Not from weapons, from a phenomenon no one understood. The stars pulsed again. Each burst formed new messages, in every language, every script. One phrase repeated across space and time. This time, they listened.